Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's me, your guide from the dark side, Dawson Richard. How is everyone today? On this beautiful Tuesday, I hope you are well and you are good. I'm decent. I've been sick the past 2 days, so if I sound weird in this or my voice sounds off, it's because of that, but fuck it. I'm going to push through for you guys. I've also had to trade out my regular Jones soda with a glass of Sprite and some crackers, so I'm pissed about that. In other news, I've been looking into maybe doing some merch, like shirts and stuff. I don't know. I feel like it's a bit early in the game for that, but just, let me know what you think. So I've got my Sprite, and I'm excited to share this story with you. So, as always, if you are squeamish around gore, murder, and other heinous acts of violence, please back out now. I would also like to warn that today's episode also has themes of rape and child pornography, so you have been warned. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different because it's a case that I am very familiar with. The subject of today's episode is a man named Darren Schillmiller. So why is this case familiar to me? Well, I went to school with this guy. I grew up around him. I have pictures of him in my yearbooks. Same hometown, same school, same bus ride. I know this guy. And we didn't have some super in-depth relationship. I usually just spoke to him in passing, but still. So today's episode, I'm going to start it off by telling you what I remember about Darren, and then I'm going to go into the actual case itself. I would also like to apologize if at any time I get heated in this one, because it's a little bit more personal. So I'm going to try to remain neutral and approach this as professionally as possible. But with all that out of the way, let's get right into today's story. So I've known Darren since elementary school. I grew up in the same classes with him. He would attend special education classes from time to time because he had some mental issues. I don't know to what degree, but there is that. So a few of the kids that I ran around with thought he was a little weird or whatever. I never really noticed it as a kid. He was different, sure, but I wouldn't say weird. I mean, I was a weird kid, so it's whatever. So skip forward, we're growing up, we're moving up to middle school. Darren was still Darren. I'd pass him in the hallway, I'd say hey, we'd sometimes have conversations about Yu-Gi-Oh cards or whatever. Nothing ever super crazy or that set off any alarms. But from my experience, he was an okay guy at this point. So then you start to move into high school, and, I would just go about my day doing high school shit. And when I would see Darren, I'd try to keep up our regular banter, just say hello and shit. Well, as the year went on, he got kind of hostile, out of nowhere. He would get really irritated and say really rude stuff to me. So an example, one time Darren was walking out of class and I saw that he dropped his pencil. So I was like, hey, Darren, you dropped your pencil. And he picked it up, and then he would just turn around and he stared at me for 4 solid seconds of just silence. And then in the most serious tone, he was like, shut the fuck up, bitch. And I'm like, whoa, where the fuck did that come from? And then another time I was in line for lunch and Darren came walking up to me and he tried to slyly cut in front of me in line, which is whatever, I don't really care. But then he started doing it every day. And finally, after 4 days in a row of not saying anything, I just kind of tapped him on the shoulder and was like, hey, Darren, maybe you should go to the back of the line. And he then shoved my hand away really hard and was like, I'll fuck you up, you dumb motherfucker. And and Darren's not a little guy. He's a big dude. And I'm not about to pick a fight with a dude that's bigger than me. Fuck that. So, but eventually he just goes to the back of the line anyway. So as high school goes on, it's just Darren goes through this complete character change. And was he a little odd? Yeah, but I mean who isn't? But this was different. He was openly hostile, and I remember him doing it to a bunch of other people. So graduation comes up, and in 2017, we all finally get our diplomas and we dip out of there. But this isn't the end of the story. This is literally just the beginning. 2 girls I also went to school with had some troubling things to say about Darren after we all graduated. I'll keep their names disclosed for the sake of their privacy, but one girl who was 2 years behind us claimed that Darren would relentlessly attempt to get bikini photos from her and even tried to friend her with a fake profile, which plays a bigger role in this story than you know. So it wasn't uncommon for there to be teen moms in my hometown. It's nothing weird. People can have kids when they want to have kids, and I don't judge them for it, and you shouldn't judge them for it, but I digress. One of these mothers was in my graduating class. After we graduated, she started talking to this guy online who was, claiming to be this, that, or whatever. Well, shortly into them talking and starting up this relationship, this guy was saying some really weird shit. He messaged her something along the lines of, "I have a problem. I want to tell someone, but I don't know." Well, get this. After he said that, he started asking this mom for her to send pictures and videos of her changing her baby daughter's diapers. No, Without any further prompting needed, this mother she cut the cord. Like, it's done, it's out. She stopped talking to him. Well, it turns out that the guy she was talking to was really Darren, going under a fake name. And apparently this wasn't new for him. He had been asking a lot of the mothers around our town to send photos of their children to him. A couple of Darren's friends in school said that it was a well-known and open thing that Darren had a fetish for children. There was even a woman in California who claimed that Schillmiller had contacted her for photos of her infants and their dirty diapers. That's a big deal for my hometown. Nothing happens in New Salisbury, Indiana, at all. It's a really small town. Nothing happens. So now that I've given you all the personal accounts with old Darren Schillmiller, I'm going to go into the actual case itself. So at this point, we're going to jump on over to Anchorage, Alaska, which, keep in mind, is almost 4,000 miles away from my small hometown of New Salisbury. One particular resident of Anchorage is 19-year-old Denali Bremer. In the early spring and summer of 2019, she started up an online relationship with a man named Tyler. Tyler told Denali that he was a millionaire living in Kansas. They began to text and talk over Snapchat, and it doesn't take very long at all for the situation to get very dark very quickly. Over the months, Tyler and Bremer began to discuss Tyler's absolutely disgusting preferences. Tyler told Bremer that he had a fetish for children and rape fantasies. Does this sound like somebody we might know? Well, within this time, they organized this plan where Bremer would get these underage girls together, perform sexual acts on them, videotape and photograph it, and then send that to Tyler. The two victims of this heinous act were a 9-year-old and a 14-year-old. I believe their ages have changed since then, but I'm going to refer to their ages at the time. Tyler gave Bremer gruesomely specific instructions on what to do to the two girls, and all videos and photos of the event were sent to Tyler. So in this following segment, I'm going to read some of the messages between Tyler and Bremer. Just be advised that this is some really nasty and just despicable stuff. In the videos and photos, the 9-year-old minor was photographed with her legs spread and her genitalia shown in full view. She also took videos of the 9-year-old minor when she was fully nude and sent them to Tyler. Bremer sexually assaulted the 14-year-old and took videos of the act, sending them, once again, to Tyler. During this case, the FBI searched Bremer's phone and found the following text conversation between her and Tyler. Tyler's messages are going to be read in a deeper voice. They also constantly reference the 14-year-old. I'm just going to call her Victim 2. So I do the stuff to Victim 2, then we rape her later tonight?
Yeah. So are you going to the 14-year-old?
Yeah, I'm going to her right now. Okay, I found a place to do it at. I'm gonna go buy weed first. I want to get her high so she doesn't fight me. I love you.
I love you too. I have lots of coming to do. I mean with her. I want to come till I bleed to her and you. When we start, just send pics, understand?
Yes, and soon we can rape Victim 2 together. She's gonna be asleep for it. Her choice. Is that okay?
That's okay. She's passed the fuck out?
I can fuck her when she's asleep.
You do what I say.
Yes.
Show me her belly and pants laying flat. Lay her flat, on video. Hurry. She's only 14?
Yeah, she's 14.
Force her. Tie her up if you have to.
Okay.
Do the video.
Okay. The next message is a video in which Bremer puts her hands down Victim 2's jeans. It is unclear if the hand reached under her underwear.
It's cute. Do hotter videos. Hold her down and stuff. Fight her. Impress me. Spam me 20 pictures. Surprise me. Pictures of her in underwear. We need to fuck her ass later. Find some toys.
At this point, Tyler appears to be messaging victim 2.
I'm going to have her rape you today. Full forced. I kind of want to see a dick in you.
The victim then talks about having to leave. Tyler responds with,
Guess what? You can't leave. I told Angel to tie you up if she has to. You're gonna play the fuck out of her pussy, understand? And her ass.
At this point, it appears that Tyler is once again messaging Bremer.
Take her socks off. I need child porn. Fully rape her. I'll make sure you see me today. Make it look like roleplay. You know what I mean. Like a porn movie. Remove her panties on video and spread her legs.
Bremer sends Tyler 2 videos. In the first, Bremer removes victim 2's underwear and her genitalia is visible. In the second video, victim 2's legs are fully spread and her genitalia is once again visible. This is where things take a very weird turn. Tyler responds with this message.
I wish I never made a deal with you in the first place. We can meet, but once I see a cop, I'm telling him or her that I made you rape people. I don't even deserve you. I still want kids, but I have a child porn fetish I'm trying to get over. I have a rape fetish, so I can never get help or be in a happy relationship.
Like, what a just absolutely disgusting person. I mean, really. Like, I don't even need to explain why. Like, the messages I just read are proof enough. Anyone who would willingly commit these acts is just scum. Dirt, trash. Like, a fucking maggot. Like, I'm gonna try to keep my cool till the end. Then I'm just gonna fucking, like, let loose. I'm just gonna tear into him. So this is where the records of their messages stop, but this isn't the only thing that Tyler and Bremer discussed. Apparently, one of the other topics that frequently popped up in their conversations was murder. You see, not only did Tyler have a rape fetish, but he also wanted to see a murder, photographed and videotaped. At this point, Tyler offered Bremer $9 million to commit the murder. Now, any sane person would be like, what the fuck, dude? No. But as clearly shown by her actions, Bremer is not a normal person. So Bremer got together a group of friends, including her homeless friend, 16-year-old Caden McIntosh, and 19-year-old Caleb Leyland. They agreed to split the money between the group. But who would be their victim? What unfortunate soul did these heartless teens choose? Whose life would be tragically cut short? That would be none other than 19-year-old Cynthia Hoffman. Cynthia Hoffman was a young resident of Anchorage and someone who considered Bremer a friend, even a best friend. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, Denali Bremer didn't choose some random individual to kill for $9 million. No, that would be far too simple for this cold-blooded individual. She chose to kill her best friend, someone who respected her, but more so someone who trusted her. I cannot even begin to describe how absolutely disgusted I am by this. Like, what an absolute snake. There's a statement made by Tyler that he wanted Bremer to kill Hoffman and that he targeted her specifically, but in the end, it was Bremer and her group that pulled the trigger. So on the night of June 2nd, 2019, the 3 teens took Cynthia Hoffman to the Thunderbird Falls in the Chugiak area. They claimed they were just going on a hike to mess around and smoke some weed. When the 4 found a spot to rest, they agreed to duct tape each other and take photographs. Cynthia was bound by her ankles and wrists with duct tape. She also had duct tape placed over her mouth. However, Cynthia started to panic. They removed the duct tape from Cynthia's mouth and hands. She began to tell them that she was going to call the police and tell them that they had kidnapped her and sexually assaulted her. Bremer was holding a gun at this point, which McIntosh took from her. They then shot young Cynthia Hoffman in the back of the head. They dumped her body into the Eklutna River and burned not only the murder weapon, but also Cynthia's clothes, ID, and purse. It is believed that during this time they had full contact with Tyler, taking pictures and videos of the whole ordeal and sending them to him. After this event, Cynthia's father, Timothy Hoffman, began to grow nervous. He stated that in this family, you all have phones. When Dad calls, you answer. I don't care if you're at church and the holy pastor is preaching. I don't care if you're at school taking the high school diploma test. If Dad calls, you answer. So it was unusual for Cynthia to be dodging his calls. so he texted the only person he could think of that would know where his daughter was, Denali Bremer. And this part just boils my blood. As if you don't already hate these scumbags enough, get this. He messaged Bremer and she responded by saying that she was concerned for Cynthia's safety and that she wasn't answering her calls either. I know she will come home safe is one message that she sent. What a horrible person. Like, what kind of monster do you have to be able to lie to a father's face about the death of his daughter when you're the one who murdered her? Like, I don't know. And this man clearly loved his daughter. He said things like, I put out search parties. I drove my motorcycle through woods and bike paths. I floored it all over town doing speed limits I should not have been doing, looking for my kid. Hoffman said, when she didn't come home the first day, I knew something was wrong. When she didn't come home the second day, I knew something was wrong. And then all I could think about was the knock on the door, he recalled. It was the police. I just looked at them and said, she's dead, isn't she? And they said yes. Hoffman said, for my daughter to go through what she has gone through, the only thing I can imagine is that she was yelling her father's name, and it goes through my head over and over and over again, and there's nothing I can do about it. That is awful. For a father to have to experience those emotions in such raw and devastating intensity is just sickening. 2 days after the murder, authorities found Cynthia's body in the river near one of the old trails. It didn't take very long for authorities to track down their prime suspect, Bremer. She and her 2 accomplices, as well as 2 minors who had involvement in the case, were all taken into custody. After confiscating Bremer's phone, the FBI found the disturbing conversations between her and Tyler. They were originally only going to track Tyler down to charge him with owning, production, and attempted solicitation of child pornography. But as they went through the messages, they tied Tyler's number to a Verizon phone. After an administrative subpoena, Verizon revealed the number subscriber to be a resident of New Salisbury, Indiana, by the name of Gary Schillmiller. However, the number on the phone itself was associated to a Facebook account. The owner of this account? Darren Schillmiller. So there you have it if you haven't guessed it by now. Tyler was not from Kansas, and he was certainly not a millionaire. He was none other than Darren Schillmiller operating out of his parents' basement in New Salisbury, Indiana. On June 9, 2019, Darren was apprehended by a U.S. Marshal and later extradited to Alaska to face murder charges in state court and child pornography charges in federal court. In his interview, he admitted to the entire situation, saying that he was Tyler and that he catfished Denali Bremer. He also stated that there were plans to kill another person after Hoffman, and that he was going to use the homicide to blackmail Bremer into doing more rape videos for him. Fucking hell. Ugh! So let me just paint this mental picture for you, right? So you've got this fucking coward, this low-down scum of the earth, just fucking slug. Not only did he orchestrate a murder and have someone make kiddie porn for him, but he planned on doing another murder, and he was going to use the dirty work as leverage to get more rape videos. This guy's a fucking slug. And it just sickens me. It sickens me. This fucking piece of shit. Whew, right, so on Friday, June 14th, a grand jury indicted all 6 suspects for first-degree murder, first-degree conspiracy to commit murder, and 2 counts of second-degree murder. Schillmiller and Bremer were also indicted on a count of first-degree solicitation to commit murder, as well as federal child pornography charges on June 18th. Bremer was additionally indicted on 1 count of tampering with physical evidence. McIntosh was indicted on 4 counts of tampering with physical evidence because he apparently provided the transport for the whole ordeal. There were also 2 minors involved in the actual murder itself, apparently, but it is unclear how they will be tried for this. During the court hearing, Timothy Hoffman had a memorial for his daughter sitting in the booth with him. He said that he wanted them, Darren specifically, to see the face of the woman they murdered. He also went on to say, I think they all ought to fry, even the teenagers, he said, to make the decision they made, to make the plot that they plotted, to plan out my daughter's death. That's not being a teenager, that's being an adult. They all ought to be tried as one. They all ought to stay in these courts. Put the age aside and give them what they rightly deserve. I'm out for one thing and one thing only, and that is justice. That's to make them rot in jail where all them people can send them to hell. I agree, Timothy. Holy hell do I agree. So from what I've heard, old Darren Boy got up to 99 years for each of the sentences. Denali got a total of 70 just for the child porn. That's not even including the murder. The other two bastards, Caden McIntosh and Caleb Lyland, got similar time. So despite the tragic loss of Cynthia Hoffman, we can all take comfort in knowing that the low-down pieces of shit who did this are never getting out of jail. As a closing thought, I just want to say that anyone, and I mean anyone, who is willing to take the life of another innocent human being to murder them in cold blood is an asshole, is scum. They deserve every bit of punishment they receive, both in the court and in prison. Bremer and her crew of monsters are terrible and monstrous fiends who placed the value of money over the life of someone who cared about them. Might I add that it was non-existent money? Like, they didn't even have any evidence that there was money. They didn't ask for a down payment or anything. They just willingly killed their best friend for money that did not exist. But worse than that is the piece of shit, cowardly and despicable goblin behind it all. The sniveling little coward, Darren Schillmiller. Like, to think that I went to school with him, to think that I was even near this piece of shit just fucking boils me up. Like, and I know I said I'd keep it professional, but good God. If the murder doesn't make you mad, which I don't know why it wouldn't, then the child pornography and rape of minors should infuriate you. So to wrap this all up, from the bottom of my heart, Bremer and the crew, I hope you all never see the light of day again. But specifically to you, Darren Schillmiller, the monster next door, I hope you fucking rot. So that was it, my 4th episode. This one was really cool for me to do because it was personal and it was just really interesting to me. I also did it while I was sick to show you guys that I'm dedicated. So, fuck yeah. Thanks again for tuning into this episode of The Void Frequency, and make sure to join me next week when we cover America's most haunted hospitals. Thanks again for the support, and stay weird, everybody.